Welcome, Annie Collins here for the Rabbit Hole Designs. Today we're going to create this fun fall card. We're going to be using the new Soft Hugs Cotton Flower stamp set. This is TRH216. This has five images of cotton. They have the cotton wreath we'll be using today, the single bud of cotton, some leaves, the trio of cottons, and cotton buds with leaves and a bow. It has one single sentiment which reads, "Sending soft hugs." I will be stamping this onto 80-pound craft cardstock, and I'm going to pull out two inks here by Memento. They are Desert Sand and Rich Cocoa, and I'm going to use these just to stamp onto my craft cardstock because I'll be coloring our images with color pencils, and I need something to, as my guide. I haven't decided if I'm going to emboss my image with either pink embossing powder, or like a dark pink, or gold. So I have those set aside just in case. I have some foil here because we'll be doing some hot foil on the background. And we're going to be using the Garden Trellis hot foil cover plate, which is TRH179HFP. And this is what it looks like. I'm taking it out of the package because can't see what it looks like in the package. And this is beautiful. This came out when Marianne did the Alice in Wonderland. It was like Alice in Wonderland stamp sets and such. So I haven't decided if I'm going to go with gold or pink. Eventually I go with pink, but I pulled those out. I'm going to use my Glimmer hot foil system for that. I will be, like I said, coloring these old school here. I'm pulling out my PrismaColor pencils, and I have a nice variety of greens, whites, and pinks. I will have these listed in the description box below for you, but I'll quickly go over the colors. I have French gray and white, pink, rose, and nectar, jade green, and kelp green. I pulled out an extra pink here, but I end up setting it aside. Decide I don't want to go with that. Just stayed with two shades of everything. Now, why pink? Because when you look at cotton, it has like this little, the buds to flop when they're budded out, they have a little hint of pink in them. So I wanted to bring that in. It also adds to the dimension. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get my craft cardstock into my Misty platform here. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp my wreath here, and I'm going to go towards the top because I'll be stamping the sentiment towards the bottom, but I want to center it because I want to fussy cut this. I believe they are dies. I'll double check, and if they are, I'll link them in the description below, but I do not own them, and if they are some. So I will be fussy cutting with leaving a little edge of craft all the way around. So first I tried the Desert Sand Memento ink, and it's the same exact color as the craft cardstock. So if you're going to do no line coloring or no line watercoloring or no line coloring on craft, Desert Sand would work. But I need, unfortunately, I can't see that well. If you know me, I wear glasses, really strong glasses at that. So I couldn't see the lines, so I went ahead with the Rich Cocoa and stamp that out. And I'll stamp it, I think twice here, just to make sure I can see a nice crisp image. I'm going to leave that wreath in the stamp platform. I'm just going to clean it, and then I'll set it aside because when we go to emboss, that way I don't have to worry about, oh, did I line that up correctly? It's all set up. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'll just clean it, and then I'll set it to the side so that we can do a quick coloring. I'm not going to color the entire image on screen because it takes a while, and yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color one leaf and a part of one of the cotton buds on the screen. So I start off with our jade green for our leaf, which is the lighter color. And I am going in a very light circular motion. I mean, so light you could barely see it on this white paper when I do it. just in there. And I want some of the tooth of the paper to show through because that gives you that feel of cotton, you know, that real feel of cotton. So then I'm going to come in with the Kelp green, and let's see, Jade green is PC1021 and Kelp green is PC1090. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some, you know, dimension in here, some darker colors to create some shading on our leaves. And I'm concentrating the shading towards the bottom portion and the middle stem. And I go around and fill that all in, and then I come back in with the Jade green and go all over it. That's going to blend it out perfectly. If you want it more blended, there is a blending pencil that comes with your your PrismaColor pencils. You can use that, or you can use some Gamsol. So now moving on to the bud. I started out with the French gray on first, and then I pulled the light pink, which is the pink rose, just to start creating the dimension. And then I will go in with the Nectar, and then I'll go in finally with the white to blend it all out. This creates a beautiful dimension. So here again I have just showing you the colors I use. I will have them all listed for you in the description box below, and I'm just saying I'm going to color all of these and fussy cut it all out. But before I fussy cut it, I will emboss it. So here's my image colored. I have my Ranger Detail Gold embossing powder in that little blue bin, and I'm going to bring in my VersaMark ink, and I'm going to ink up my image, and I'm going to stamp it. I also have the sentiment placed here, which I am going to emboss as well. So see how it's perfectly lined up. I didn't have to worry about trying to get it there. Just leave it in your stamping positioner when you're doing something like this. I did make one mistake. I did not use my anti-static powder. I have the cotton tool. I should have used that, the cottontail anti-embossing tool. I don't know, I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to get it done. So I get a little bit of static here, but I just grabbed a quick brush, and it wasn't a lot. So I'm going to grab my little brush here, my little extra dry paintbrush, and I'm just going to dust it all off. This is an inexpensive one. I think I got it from one of the big box stores in the pack. It just has like the stiffer bristles. They're great for dry brushing and stuff. But I use this for my to remove any excess embossing powder. Alright, so I'm dusting everything off. And you wouldn't have to do this if you use your anti-static tool. Okay, so use your anti-static tool. Don't do what I just did. Now I'm going to heat set this, and it's going to go from that dull gold to a nice shiny gold. And I know it's hard to see here because I'm too far, but I'm going to angle it in the camera so you can see it. And this adds just a nice warm touch to everything. So I go ahead and blend that, heat that all up. And here it is. Can you see that? Oh, beautiful. And I know my lights in my room are really bright, but in order for you to see what I'm doing, I need them to be that light. So it might be a little difficult to pick up on all that gold. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of splatter with the Imagine Crafts Sheer Shimmer Craft Spray in gold. I'm not going to put a lot. I'm just going to add here and there, just a little bit. And I'm going to put it on, put a few drops of it onto this little plastic sheet. This is a plastic release sheet from foam adhesive. I was like, what is that from? I just use it as a little palette for this, just for my splatter. So I go ahead and just do a little bit of splatter, and then I'm going to set this aside to dry while we foil our background. Alright, so I have my Glimmer system heating up. It's all ready to go. I have white. This is Accent Opaque 80-pound white cardstock that I'm using. I ended up going with the pink foil, and that's Glimmer, Spellbinders Glimmer foil in pink. I believe it's like rose pink actually. And then here it is. Look how beautiful the reveal is. Woo. And then I run it through my die cut machine, which is off the side. Alright, so I'm going to move all that out of our way. And I decided to go ahead and remove the center, because at first I was going to leave my center like that craft, but I didn't like it. So I trimmed it all out. Now, my panel I've trimmed down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have a piece of craft cardstock, the same I used to stamp on, at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and my card base is 110-pound white card base. I have my sentiment cut into a strip, and I have foam adhesive on the back of our image. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Barely Art glue to adhere my foiled panel onto the craft cardstock. Go ahead and center that, press it all out, and then I'm going to adhere our card front to our card base. Let me give that some glue there. Yes, I know I'm using a lot of glue, but with the foiling and everything, you need that glue to hold everything down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and press that down once I get it all centered there. Now I have foil. I have foam on the back of our wreath here. So I'm going to decide where I want it. I'm just laying it. Once you see me push down, now it's completely set. I just lay it just lightly just so I can make sure I have it where I want it. This is the same thing with my sentiment. And I'm going to be honest with you, I straightened it here, and then when I went to go take my pictures, I realized it was slightly askew, so I lifted it up and moved it and fixed it. So if it looks a little off here, I do fix it by the time pictures come around. Alright, so now I'm going to put some little gems. I have some pink ones here that I'm going to put, and some nice white ones. That coordinates beautifully with our design. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little one up here, then some around our sentiment, and another one on the other side, upper right side of our wreath. And that will be the finishing touch. I didn't want to put too much embellishments because you have all that beautiful foil and embossing, and there you have our completed card. Look at all that shimmer and prettiness. It's gorgeous. I love the way it came out. You have all the texture showing through the wreath. So again, let's go over what we used. We used the Soft Hugs Cotton Flowers stamp set, and that was designed by Agota Pop. And this is TRH216, and we used the Garden Trellis, which is the hot foil cover plate, which is TRH179HFP. We used our Glimmer hot foil system, and we used the Glimmer hot foil in pink, or rose pink, sorry, and some embossing powder, our PrismaColor pencils. The embossing powder was Ranger Gold, Detail Gold. But like always, I will have everything listed in the description box below for you with links to the shop. Anything extra that, like if there are dies, I will link them for you. Thank you for being here. I hope you found some inspiration. Here's a quick close-up. And be sure to follow us on social media to get more inspiration from our team.